I met the we ain't found shit guy at a talk he did for astronomy. Apparently, the dude's an amateur astronomer, got a whole bunch of telescopes, and showed us pictures of constellations and comets he actually found in space. So while he never found shit in the desert, he did find shit in space.
Welcome to Tairimo Boys Podcast. I'm your host Cody. With me in second chair is the boy who's a master at using the schwartz. It's Jeremy.
May the Schwartz be with you.
With me in third chair is the boy who knows a thing or two about merchandising. It's Ryan.
What's up?
Today we're going back to 1987 and reviewing the hit parody. It really wasn't a hit back then, but nowadays it's a hit. Cult classic movie Spaceballs. So Jeremy had been requesting this movie for a while.
Yes, sir.
Since we're getting ready to go into Dune and Ghostbusters month and a half, we needed a movie to fill in an extra week, so we turned to Spaceballs.
Good old Spaceballs.
Like I said in the intro, this movie it kind of flopped at the time it came out. It had a budget of 22.7 million. It only made 38.1 million. So it had a bit of profit, but not much. But nowadays, this is a movie that everyone loves. So, Jeremy, what are your first thoughts on this?
As you boys know, I am a huge Star Wars nerd. Also enjoyed Star Trek growing up. A parody on both of them in one movie was like a dream come true for me.
What about you, Ryan?
This is one of my top five favorite movies of all time.
Here we go again.
Is it in top 550 or top 570?
Top 550. No, it's one of my favorite top five favorite comedies of all time, I would say. I used to watch this all the time as a kid, like annoyingly on a loop.
I don't remember the first time I watched this movie. It might have been like when I was in high school. But needless to say, these boys, they know that I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but even though I'm not a Star Wars fan, I do love me some Spaceballs. And
This goes to show you everybody can love them some Spaceballs.
everyone needs some Spaceballs into their lives. So I want to start with like a little fun fact and a little quiz maybe for Jeremy. Jeremy,
Oh,
do you know George Lucas's involvement in this?
I do not.
What about you, Ryan?
George Lucas was involved in this movie?
Yep.
I not know that.
Well, as soon as you
Did
ask
he
the
sue
question.
them?
No.
Oh.
I'm surprised neither of you boys know this, but George Lucas was heavily involved in this movie. He read the screenplay and loved it, and got heavily involved with it with Mel Brooks. His special effects company, they were the ones that helped with all the special effects and stuff on this movie.
Okay,
His
I can see that.
like at the end of the movie when Mega Maid's blowing up, there's just some spoilers, people at home, and you see like all the escape pods shooting out. That was unused footage from one of the original trilogy movies. It was either Empire Strikes Back or New Hope. Not a New Hope, but it was either Empire Strikes Back or
Return of the Jedi.
there you go. But George Lucas's like only caveat was that Mel Brooks wasn't allowed to do merchandising with it.
Wow.
Mind blown.
Yeah, so if you're unaware, the reason George Lucas got as rich as he did is because well, before Disney bought Star Wars for like 10 billion or however much they did, but George Lucas went and got the merchandising rights for Star Wars, and he didn't allow Mel Brooks to do a whole lot of merchandising. I'm guessing because it was a parody and it could have ruined his cash cow. But instead, you get yogurt in the movie constantly merchandising.
Can't imagine a world in which Spaceballs toys are as giant a seller as Star Wars toys, but still, ouch. Harsh, bro.
Well, I mean, really, the only thing I can really think of is Lucas didn't want some kid asking for a Yoda doll for Christmas, and then opens the present. There's a freaking yogurt doll.
I scared the hell out of the child.
If you're wondering why everything looks so good in the movie, it's because Lucas was involved.
That was a great fun fact.
I can't wait to have the C3PO toy. Joan Rivers!
So, for anyone who's unaware of Spaceballs, like we've already mentioned, it's a Star Wars parody, and there's some little bit of elements of Star Trek and some other movies into it. Basically, it stars kind of a Han Solo character named Lone Starr and his His Chewbacca parody, Barf, played by the late great John Candy.
Rest in peace, John Candy.
The Spaceballs, they're kind of a race of idiots, and they need to steal air from planet Druidia, and they end up kidnapping the princess of the world, and shenanigans ensue where everyone goes back and forth while Lone Star works on taking down the evil president and the evil Dark Helmet. When you think this movie, the first thing you think is the comedy cast. Like this movie, it's got an all-star cast.
Sure does.
It's got Rick Moranis as Darkhelm, Mel Brooks himself, he plays Yogurt and President. Bill Pullman plays Lone Starr, but do you really remember anything Bill Pullman's been in since this? Ryan,
Independence Day.
Anything else, Ryan?
Independence Day Part 2.
Anything that's not Independence Day?
Nope, I got nothing.
Yep, that's it. Sorry, Bill Pullman.
We tried.
Yeah, I looked up his credits. Like the only thing that really stood out was Independence Day, and I mean he was like the president in that, and really nothing else stands out. Shame. The guy could have easily have been Brandon Fraser of his time, but I mean even Brandon Fraser got screwed. Like we've mentioned, this is a comedy movie, so of course, to be a good comedy movie, you need to have a lot of laughs. One of the big things about this movie is it does a lot of, I don't know if there's an official word for this, but it makes puns, and then it turns the pun into like a visual gag. Like for instance, when they need to jam the Spaceballs radar, they literally throw like a jar of raspberry jam into the radar, or famous comb the desert scene where they've got like giant rubber combs just coming through the desert. So starting off, Jeremy, there's a lot of great funny quotes in this movie. What's your favorite?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Some of my favorites, honestly, I'll pick one favorite because I have way too many. I could go through a list of them. When Dark Helmet and Lone Star fight in the end, and Dark Helmet says, "I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. Now let's see how you handle it." I lost my shit.
I like the final boss battle.
Final boss battle.
What about you, Ryan?
I'm going the sentimental route. Going with "We Ain't Found Shit" because I remember watching it with my brother and it made him. That's one of the only times I saw him laugh. That's not true. I've seen him laugh a lot. And two, I'm going with "I Buckle This" because it made my dad laugh. And now I'm wondering what part of the movie made me laugh besides all of it.
What part of the movie really made you laugh? There you go.
All of it.
Whole thing.
It's been just like Ghostbusters where he's quoting the whole damn thing.
Yep.
Oh
Get
yeah,
out the
easily.
script.
As for me, my favorite quote is like the whole combination scene where they're trying to get the combination to the air shield around the planet, and it's like the king's just slowly listing off the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a bit when they're writing it down and realizing like that sounds like the combination an idiot would put on their luggage, and then 30 seconds later you get the president walks in and they tell him that, and he's like, that's the same combination I have in my luggage. My second favorite quote is just kind of like in between those two parts. It's the part of that whole scene where the nurse is walking out of the room and Dark Helmet tells the president, I bet she gives a great helmet. Of course, those are our favorite quotes. Now, Jeremy, what about your favorite scene?
Also a tough one. There were so many damn good ones. One of my absolute favorites is when Lone Star he's learning how to use the Schwartz. That's probably one of my top favorites in the movie. Besides Vulcan Death Pinch.
For people at home, if you don't know, the Schwartz is basically the Force in this movie. I do love the Vulcan nerve pinch one because just how silly it is. Like, that, you're not doing it right. You're supposed to go a little lower. Like, oh, thanks. It doesn't lower and it works. What about you, Ryan?
I'm gonna go with two again. I can't pick just one. It's like eating a
It's
potato
so hard.
chip. One is when Dark Helmet gets caught playing with the dolls
Oh,
of himself.
here's your little fun fact about that scene. That was completely ad lib. Hold on, let me correct that. It wasn't ad lib, but it wasn't the original script. Like Mel Brooks and them, they came in one day. They're like they kind of thought of the idea of the doll scene, and Rick Moranis kind of ad libbed it himself. But yeah, the doll scene's just hilarious where he's playing. It's like, oh, it's like you're so handsome, Dark Helm.
Your helmet is so big. We used to quote that all the time. Probably shouldn't have done that in the middle of science class.
What about your second one?
Second one is the bleeps, what is it? The bleeps, the sweeps, and the creeps,
Yep.
where the guy from Police Academy makes sound effects. It doesn't take much to please me. I have the mentality of a 5-year-old.
Here's another little fun fact on that scene. Mel Brooks made a joke that him doing his own sound effects saved like $1,000 to $4,000 on the budget of the movie. Yeah, the movie's so crazy. It's got so many great scenes. You got Yogurt's Temple. You've got the whole Mega Maid reveal where the ship morphs into like a giant maid, and the whole self destruction thing, and it's just so good. Since we're going with two scenes, I'll give two. First off is whenever Yogurt's going over merchandising. This movie, since it's a parody movie, it breaks the fourth wall constantly, and Yogurt's going on about merchandising. Where he's just going, "Your Spaceballs the towel, Spaceballs the cereal," and you see like the cereal box is 100% sugar. Spaceballs the flamethrower, but like
Kids love it.
The kids love that one.
they actually made some of the flamethrowers. I think it was like 18 or 20,000 of them in like recent years. But sometimes some of the merchandise wiggles its way out of George Lucas's eyes. My second favorite scene is like the whole at the end of the whole diner scene where they go into the diner and they ask if they want the special or soup. They each order one, and then you get the whole parody of Alien with the whole chest burster scene. So Ryan probably knows this. I don't know if Jeremy knows it, but the guy who the chest burster's in, that's John Hurt, who actually had the chest burster scene in the original Alien movie.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Whenever they asked him to be in the movie, they told me it was just gonna be a walk-on cameo. But as soon as he got on stage, they were ready to do the whole chest burster thing. He didn't get paid or anything for the movie. He said, "I wish I would have asked for a salary for this movie."
Missed opportunity.
And then you get the whole instead of doing the evil xenomorph stuff in the movie, it starts singing like the frog from the Looney Tunes cartoon. Now, Jeremy, I don't know if you caught this, but outside the diner, you could see the Millennium Falcon.
Oh my god. I didn't catch it this time around. No. Shame. Old Han Solo and his parody were at the same diner, huh?
We were just machine gunning jokes at you there.
Who do you think would have shot first? Lone Starr or Han Solo?
Burrito.
Well, I think Lone Star would have probably tried talking Han out of it, and then Han would have shot first. Until Lucas decided to change to Lone Star shooting first.
There we go. That's what I was waiting for.
Because it totally makes sense for Greedo to miss a shot point blank range. So, got a couple more fun facts for you. So, we already mentioned John Candy playing Barf, the dog man called
A
Mog. Yep. Some fun facts about his costume. Originally, there's supposed to be a full face mask, Pitbull type dog, I think it was. And Mel Brooks kind of went against it because he's like, I'm paying good money for John Candy. If we're not going to show his face, we might as well hire a different actor. But they slowly kind of trimmed away at it. At one point, they wanted to do more prosthetics on the face, but John Candy was okay with it, but Mel Brooks kept on chipping away at it. Another thing, the whole voice change that Rick Moranis does as Dark Helmet, whenever he's got the face mask on and off, that was Rick's idea. Originally, he was supposed to just be doing his normal voice the whole time, but he wanted to do kind of a Darth Vader type thing.
Well done, Rick Moranis.
Another thing I want to touch on is whoever did the makeup in this movie was just absolutely amazing at it, because Yogurt's whole thing, that was Mel Brooks. They put the golden makeup all over him and made him, I guess, gargle like green dye. It looked absolutely amazing. And then at the beginning of the movie, when you got Pizza the Hut, his like robot companion, that's all makeup, and it looks like so amazing. It looks like it's actually mechanical.
That was great. However, Pizza the Hut was terrifying. I remember being mortified of that as a child.
For a movie with such great special effects, Pizza the Hut is so crappily done. Like, you could see the guy in the freaking costume. I feel like there's like some joke that I'm missing there.
All I know is I was fucking terrified as a child.
Jeremy never viewed pizza the same way again.
Not Pizza Hut.
Now, following up our Ghostbusters little quiz show, Jeremy, do you know who Mel Brooks originally wanted to play Yogurt?
I do not.
What about you, Ryan?
Michael Keaton. Um, who was originally supposed to play Yogurt? Danny DeVito?
Nope.
That would have been a great yogurt, though.
Yep.
Yeah, he would have. So it's a Mel Brooks movie.
Uh, Gene Wilder.
Yep. Originally, that's all
Would have been
the.
hilarious if you said Cleavon Martin.
Nah, it was Gene Wilder. He originally wanted Gene Wilder to play Yogurt, but Gene was busy with another movie. So you had Mel Brooks playing multiple roles, and he had it playing Yogurt. The makeup made him itch, and he had to walk around on his knees. Even with knee pads, his knees were hurting.
In there. Um,
All right. So in order to stop Jeremy from whining, we're gonna do boys in action.
Good reason to do a segment.
Excellent reason.
All
I'm
right.
gonna start whining now.
So Jeremy, where do you die in this movie?
Boy, there's so many places I would die in this, to be honest. I'm going to say I would have died at the jamming the radar scene. As Dark Helmet was whining about the raspberry jam and it was coming out of the monitor, I would have been walking by and slipped on a piece of it. Just a little bit of the jam, and I would have hit my head on the table.
We've been hitting our heads a lot lately.
That's how we die most of the time.
What about you, Ryan?
First time I got the Schwartz ring, I just look at it and go off.
You mean you put your Schwartz right through your eye?
Yeah.
Gotta be careful of premature Schwarzenation. As for me, I think Vinny and Pizza the Hut would have shown up and broke my legs and left me to die. They wouldn't even give me a chance to get the 1 million. I just pissed them off so much, they would be done with me.
I feel satisfied now.
Bitching, Jeremy?
Only a little bit.
Never stop quitting your bitching.
I never will. I swear on my
Motto I
Schwartz.
live by.
All right, Jeremy, pass the topic on to you.
You know, I gotta say one thing about this movie: the amount of locales that they were making fun of or doing a parody of Star Wars was incredible. The one that really, really stood out to me was Coruscant. Obviously, in Star Wars lore, Coruscant is full of nobles, and I imagine they're snobby, stuck-up bitches. But in this, like, the princess was just a brat. Like, this is this day and age's version of Coruscant. But yeah, I love like the whole locales parody thing.
They're supposed to be Jews, Jeremy. Mel Brooks has said that, yeah, he was disappointed he put so many Jew jokes in there, but at the same time he was proud.
That's all I got.
Ryan, pass the topic on to you.
I met the we ain't found shit guy at a talk he did for astronomy. Apparently, the dude's an amateur astronomer, got a whole bunch of telescopes, and showed us pictures of constellations and comets he actually found in space. So while he never found shit in the desert, he did find shit in space.
There's your little
What's your
fun
favorite
fact.
character?
That was great. Wait, boys, real talk, serious question. Princess Vespa, scale.
Like, what kind of
Wait, what's
scale
the
are we
question?
using?
How attractive is she?
Is it
How bangable
from-
is Princess Vespa? 1 to 10 or whatever you want it to be. For me, it's a beer goggles 6.
Well, I'm gonna put her close to Ernest Goes to Africa.
Son of a bitch stole my joke.
That's why I got it out before, but I'm gonna think I'm gonna put her like close to a 7 because she's got all that Jewish money.
All right, well said. Ryan, what do you got?
9. I had a major crush on her when I was a kid. Never returned any of my phone calls. She never wrote back. She did send me one letter, but it was like a cease and desist letter.
I'll throw that out there.
Anything else, Ryan?
Did we do favorite characters?
We could do favorite character.
Let's do it.
All right, my favorite, Dark Helmet. Rick Moranis is just too perfect as the Darth Vader parody.
God damn it. I have to agree. Dark Helmet, however, followed very closely by Barf.
What about you, Ryan?
I have to go with the girl that gives great helmet.
Plot twist.
No, actually, yeah, Dark Helmet. Dark Helmet, the clean sweep.
Moranis
Hard
just
to believe that
runs
guy
away
played
with
Barney in a Flintstones movie.
Did he?
Yep,
I'm starting to remember
John
that
Goodman
now.
Flintstones movie.
Well, there you go. All right, Jeremy, final thoughts?
Tairimo Boys, certified fun. If you haven't seen it, shame on you. Said that a lot, but really shame on you for this one. This one's been around for a while. It's worth seeing.
Ryan, final thoughts?
It's the Star Wars of comedy.
Well said.
Also helps it's a Star Wars parody.
With just a smidgen of a dash of Star Trek.
And a little bit of Alien.
And a little sprinkle on top. A little cherry on top with Alien.
And a tiny bit of Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of movies in this movie. That's what makes a good parody movie. As for me, boys have already said it. This movie's amazing. I remember the first time I watched it. I was surprised that I'd slept on it for so long. If you haven't seen it, definitely go see it. Now, before we get to the scale, I want to discuss one more thing. Remember during our Kingsman review where we said, be careful what you wish for when it comes to sequels? Well, throughout the
Mm-hmm.
movie, Yogurt kind of hints at us like, oh, just wait till Spaceballs 2 to search for more money, which is a funny line in the movie. Jeremy, are you familiar with Spaceballs, the animated series?
Nope, and probably for a good reason.
What about you, Ryan?
Yes. Wasn't it on like Spike TV or something?
It was G4.
Is it G4?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember I watched a half an episode of that.
Then you tuned out, right? Forever.
I sure did.
So to answer Jeremy's question, yeah, there's a good reason you've never heard of this. I think
Thank
it,
God. I used to watch G4 all the time too.
I think it was 2007.
That was a seven. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Checks out.
was that was when the network had started turning into the whole cops, Ninja Warrior, cheaters network, and they were trying to do new content like Spaceballs the animated series, but I had never seen an episode of it, and I didn't have G4 at the time. But like I know a lot of people I've talked to have said that it was awful.
They are correct.
So once again, be careful what you wish for. Although Kingsman 2 is a way better movie than what Spaceballs the animated series apparently was. All right, Star Wars parody. Jeremy, today's scale is The Empire Strikes Back to The Last Jedi. Where do you rank this movie?
Empire Strikes Back.
Ryan, do you want to contest that anyway?
Oh, Empire easily.
This is a straight no contest.
Yep, it's easily up there with the best Star Wars movies. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to another episode of Tairimo Boys podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment telling us how much you love Spaceballs, and don't forget to ring that motherfucking bell. Stay tuned for more episodes.
May the Schwartz be with you all.